Hey, he did what all of us want to do with that subpar arc. We opened this week with the 6 Ranger duo stopping by the Boonboomger garage to do what most self-employed guys do and mooched off their friends when business wasn't booming, which is more than often. To possibly parallel this, Tai had accepted another gig from Raita, though unlike the previous wholesome ones where they were making deliveries to the show's target audience, and as we'd see there, this is kind of a legit job to a sort of research facility. Anyway, after a rather clever lead-in for the show's opening, we saw some true nightmare fuel. Really, they would have to end the show if that were to ever happen. However, they were gonna let that keep them down, as they even recollected a previous experience with Distressed Rex, who, yeah, in spite of our joke from last week, might really not return to the series other than through these flashbacks. Yeah, unfortunately, this poster for the series' third lap, as they're calling it, was kind of deceptive, unless he really is coming back, but it's kind of in doubt now. Also, yeah, we'll talk more about this poster a little later in the video. Anyway, the flashback was mostly just to show how the first general of the show was legit the best general of the show, who had encouraged his troops through some tough love, which they decided to honor after a whole arc where they had kind of been mistreated by Cannonborg. Speaking of whom, we did get some proper follow-up to the events of the previous episode, with Shabe reporting it to her superior and asking about where they got their intel about his hideout. Of course, shady organizations gotta be shady, and they didn't tell her anything. Instead, they asked her about the Boonboomger, resulting in what I'd call a half-recap episode, which is something I've noticed tends to be a thing with Atsuhiro Tomioka's writing. Like, coincidentally, we reviewed a similar episode for another series we reviewed that he also had wrote for, Battle Spirit Sword Eyes, which you should totally watch those reviews, by the way, just to kind of give us a few more views, please. But yeah, he tends to do these sorts of episodes, as while he recognizes the importance of clip shows, he also doesn't want to use up too much valuable time in an episode, so he also throws in a ton of world building and or character development. And I think it's a good idea, especially at the start of a new story arc like this, as it does allow any possible newcomers to the show to be not totally lost, though I'm not sure why people would come into the show this late, but whatever. And it does make sense to have the observer in Shabe narrated, even if she does have some clear bias.
とんでもない。これをご覧ください。
Lady, I realize recent Super Sentai sales have kind of been down, but y'all don't have to come off as that desperate. Anyway, in keeping with that spirit, the Hashan decided to make their own callback, though again with some new content, by recreating Peeved Rex's original monster of the week, the Toilinator. And this time, I guess because he was created by Tasha, he had a new ability. Whoa, keep it PG, guys. Actually, he pulled out those center parts of the toilet paper, or spine, which I guess represented their emotional spines, and drained them of their motivation. Well, just be glad it wasn't their literal spines otherwise. Nope, can't show it, us we're gonna get demonetized again. Fortunately, Homura ended up being the first one on the scene, with the rest of the Boonboomger soon joining in, and kind of likely tying in with Shabe's narration. That said, I'm a little more distracted by what she had done to the deluxe Boom Boom Robo. You know all of that junk on it is going to ruin the ratchets over time, right? Anyway, the Boonboomger engaged the toilet monster for a second time, much to the horror of Ishiro, and to the joy of us as we got to see the best clip from a previous episode. He of course tried to do everything to avoid having another embarrassing go around, but half their team still got soaked in his flushing waters that would have exposed their true feelings, theoretically. However, we already knew Joe was immune due to his blatant honesty, and apparently so was Mira and Homura, as they seem like cases of what you see is what you get. Still, they were curious of what a truthful Taya would look like. Save that for your next show, Tomioka. However, the monster did eventually end up splashing him and Ishiro again, but as it turned out, it was just regular toilet water, which, yeah, y'all should probably still wash your suits. Still, yeah, I guess the monsters could only have one unique power at a time, and thus we were robbed of another round of honest Ishiro. Boo! With that, they of course made quick work of the early season monster of the week. Meanwhile, for the giant robot battle, he did at least have a few new tricks that kind of make me want to install one of those beta toilets into my place. And they finished them off with their fan mode formation, which, yeah, I'm surprised wasn't a one episode thing, since it looks more like Shirabe's monstrosity. But I guess they just really want to encourage everyone to buy all the toys. Anyway, all of the monster's victims were revived through the power of the rewind button, and Taya made his delivery to a research lab in the same building as the ISA. What a coincidence, along with Raita going to see Shirabe's superior.
And the plot thickens!
And if that wasn't enough, the lab got attacked by the new general of this arc named Race because someone really likes cult classics. And the episode ended with the usually calm and collected Gemba of all characters getting triggered to the point that he immediately attacked the new baddie. So yeah, it seems like he's going to get a lot more focus in this arc, which kind of goes in line with this poster that we talked about earlier, as we can clearly see that Gemba is in the center, along with yet another upgraded form for Taya, because of course he's got to get one on top of 119, though at least this one is just a jacket, because I guess he wants that drip. Also, looks like Tokyo Ichigo is going to show up, which, yeah, I didn't really watch Tokyo, but that should be interesting. And in general, this episode gave us some tantalizing tastes for what we could expect for the remainder of the season. As a result, yeah, nothing much happened, as this was also half of a clip show, but after the last arc kind of rushed a ton of plot, maybe slowing things down wouldn't be a bad idea. And regardless, that was still an awesome way to end it. With Tomioka back in the driver's seat, hopefully this third lap will be able to make up for the follies of the second. Whether we like them or not, clip shows are often a necessary evil for long-running shows, and hell, if done right, they can end up being some of the more entertaining outings. I personally think Tomioka is one of the best writers for these sorts of episodes, as he usually keeps the recaps restrained to only the most important details that longtime viewers or newcomers might need to be reminded of. It frees up room for some new content that helps move the plot forward. In the case of this episode, they did a good job properly fleshing out the ISA a lot more, and some of its shadier dealings that even seem to involve Taya's mentor, which, yes, this old dude gonna turn out to be not all on the up and up, because that would actually be a great twist. And of course, that stinger was just awesome. And sure, round 2 with Potty Mouth wasn't exactly new content for the show, but it was still a fun callback at least. Likewise, I think it's a great idea to flesh out the Hashira more, with the original trio seemingly getting more character development, along with the deceased Rex. And overall, this third lap is at least looking like it's going to be a bit of a smoother drive compared to the many bumps that were in the previous one. The race isn't over, so maybe we can at least look forward to some interesting twists and turns to come for the show. Next week, though, we are going to change things up a little by reviewing the first episode of Kamen Gav. We're mostly doing it to take advantage of the hype for the new series, though I am also interested in the fact that Junko Komura is writing it, and I do tend to like her work, so it might be something good to check out. Don't worry though, we will still review Boonboomger, we just might move it to later in the week, or maybe we'll play a little catch up at some point, we'll see how things turn out. And until then though, for now my friends, and if you'll excuse me, I think I'm just gonna go buy some snacks for the occasion.